Hello to all the families and the friends, the colleagues in arms and the supporters, and most importantly, welcome to the 8th cohort of the Justice Ambassadors Fellows. I'm getting a little teary. My name is Pauline Ross. I'm the government facilitator, and I have just been so honored to be a part of this program. Y'all, we got a lot to do tonight. It's not about me, it's about them. So we are gonna get started. And with that, I wanna call up the two people that I've spent every Friday and Tuesday with since like August, the two folks that are behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, in between the scenes, making it happen. Give a big shout out to Gabe Feldman, our program manager. And to my nephew, Jason Bostic. Please come on up.
How's it going, y'all? Damn, y'all look good. My name's Gabriel Feldman. I'm the program manager for Justice Ambassadors. I am so excited to be here tonight, really.
My name is Jason Bostic. I'm the program coordinator of Justice Ambassadors. Y'all look amazing. Y'all truly look amazing. There's a lot of y'all look really good here tonight, especially these brothers right here. I'm really proud of y'all. I really want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming here today to celebrate the young people in the room with your families being here, for the colleagues of the government officials who are here supporting their colleagues, but then also for everyone in here to support and change. Throughout this program, for Justice Ambassadors, I watched tirelessly the young people and the government officials come together to collaborate on these policy proposals. Justice Ambassadors is an educational seminar. For 12 weeks, the government and the youth from all over New York City come together to co-create these policies to impact change so that they could see a community, a New York City, that look better based on ideas that they have, so that they could get a seat at the table. Justice Ambassadors was founded by Jarrell Daniels, and when Jarrell Daniels was coming out of Queensboro facility, he wondered why did he have to go to prison in order to get access to these resources. And then when he became an intern at the Center for Justice, and all the programs there was more so for rehabilitative work, he said, what about the prevention? How can I stop a young individual like myself from going inside the system to really, truly impact change? I can't say how proud I am for each and all the individuals in this room, for seeing how the people showing up for them, and for y'all all to hear the policy proposals tonight. Thank you.
So one of the most important facets of Justice Ambassadors, along with the seminars on Tuesdays, are the site visits. And they happen on Thursdays every week. Justice Ambassadors has become a huge network. We throw the word family around, but based on tonight, it's really starting to feel real. I have the privilege of shouting out some of the partners. I'm sure I will miss some because there's just so many of you. But here are some of the folks who have really supported us throughout the year. We visited Judge Bybin's court, the ATI court. Kelly and Judge Bybin were incredibly welcoming, and the chance to get to see how a court like that works, especially in a city like Manhattan, was incredible. So thank you so much. We visited Midtown Community Court. That is one that has a connection to also to Danny, who we were also able to visit with Pathways to Public Safety. I think half the office from Pathways to Public Safety is here. That office also grew by one One of our Justice Ambassadors was actually hired at Pathways to Public Safety, Christian Gis. We got a chance to visit New York Street Law at NYU Law, and that was an incredible seminar. We got to really dive into potentially how these policies can be implemented and how the law would be structured with it. It was incredible. I want to thank Professor Amy Wallace for that. We got to go to Pauline's office, to the Inspector General's office. Thank you, Jack, Pauline, and the whole team there, as always. We got to go up to Albany. Again, for the second time this year. We got to visit let's see if I get it right, Division of Criminal Justice Services, DCJS. You government in your acronyms. So I want to thank Shalane, and I think Omar is here. I hope so, because we're really, really excited to have you here. Thank you so much. We got to visit the Brennan Center, again, for the second time this year. They taught us all about how data can be implemented in a meaningful, impactful way. And data can sometimes feel like it's boring, but they showed how it's so, so important and really not boring at all, which is a surprise for me sometimes. So thank you, Josie, Tiffany, and Jinmuk. Thank you so much. If you guys are here or online, thank you so much. Micah Amos visited us and gave a talk about mental health and how not only it could be accessible for folks who normally wouldn't feel comfortable interacting with it, but that online mental health was also a meaningful way to interact with that, and sometimes that can be a bridge to interacting with something like that. So thank you, Micah. And finally, I just want to say thank you to Tracy, who I think is hopefully online. She taught us about how important parenting is, and I think that's something that often gets put aside and maybe not acknowledged, especially that parents really are the foundation of children and therefore of our future. So thank you so much, Tracy, for telling us all about it. I also want to give a shout out to YJN. I think we have a huge team of YJN here. Let's see if I can make out who's over there. Venus, Chris, Vidal, thank you so much for supporting us throughout the semester. They were some of the mentors and case managers for some of our youth, and we really couldn't do this without you. I also want to thank an organization called Agency, and especially Jordan, who suited and booted all of our Justice Ambassadors here today. That's why they look so fly. And then, last but not least, another facet of Justice Ambassadors is the internships. Following this, 8 of our Justice Ambassadors of the youth will get a chance to work at the School of Professional Studies here at Columbia in a paid internship where they'll get to explore, yeah, clap it up for that, really. So I just want to thank Zelon, Ariel, Jason, Arleni, Nicholas, and Nicole. Thank you all so, so much. What that really does is set the youth up for a pathway towards success, which I think is really a huge part of what Justice Ambassadors tries to do.
That same success that Gabe talks about, the family that's in this room right now, was birthed upstairs in the forum, in a small orange room surrounded by glass, where each one of you, the government officials, came and removed your work hat. You removed your title. And the youth here became curious and asked questions and realized, even as a young person in a room, that y'all impact change. Here at Justice Ambassadors, we have something called the policy by proximity, that the people that's closest to the problem are closest to the solution, but furthest from the resources. Exactly, I would have won like that too. Because these young people not only changed my life, Justice Ambassadors not only changed my life, but the foundation that Jarrell built, with the vision as a leader and as a mentor, you impacted so many people, and the ripple effect of that cannot be measured.
Another piece of this huge and growing family is the origin story of Justice Ambassadors. So it came out of a program called Inside Criminal Justice, and I just want to read a statement that I was given for some of the folks who are here with us. We're happy to acknowledge the members of our Inside Criminal Justice community here in the audience tonight. Everyone in this room understands the power of education and communication. Since 2018, the Center for Justice and the Manhattan DA's office has brought together incarcerated people and prosecutors to learn from each other at Queensboro Correctional Facility. Right before Thanksgiving, we wrapped our latest cohort. 2 of our students, Alfredo Rivera and Emerson Cruz, are still incarcerated, and we hope to welcome them home in the coming days. We are delighted to get to congratulate some of their classmates in person tonight. ICJ students, please stand up if you are here so we can acknowledge you. Robert Caballero. And then, last but certainly not least, of people that I am thanking and really like showing huge appreciation for are our volunteers. We have a lot of people who really showed up and were not paid. They just kept showing up for all the sessions, for the site visits. So I'm going to read your names out, and I would like you to stand because we really appreciate your participation with us. Christian Geest. Kylan Thompson. Kylan Thompson. Yeah. Liam Dreyer. Maya Holloman. Woo! Ruchi Mangtani. And this is how true it is. I bet Dominic DuPont is downstairs still volunteering. So, oh, he's up here. Thank you all so much. We're so excited for what you're about to see. Thank you.
Wow. So, Gabriel talked about in 2018 the Inside Criminal Justice program, and I have the great pleasure to work for the woman that was a part of that. So Inspector General Lucy Lang met up with Jarrell and was an instructor when she was at the Manhattan DA's office, and who knew that 6 years later she would be saying to me, a state government employee, give up your Tuesday nights. Give up my Tuesday nights? I'm a busy lady. What are you talking about? And that was the best gift that I got because it just reopened my brain to why I got into public service in the first place. And I think I speak for all of the government folks here. You know, we do this work that we do not for the money, right? Not for the glory. We do it because we want to affect positive change, and there's nothing better to do that than Justice Ambassadors. What a great program. So let's see some policies. Are we ready? Yes. All right, would Youth in Justice and Close the Gap please stand and take your positions? That's fine. So Youth in Justice will take the stage, and Close the Gap should wait over here to the right. Youth in Justice is a mega group. So Youth in Justice is going to talk with you about their policy that seeks to interrupt the juvenile offender cycle through targeted mentorship, and that mentorship is available both inside and outside of institutions. Give it up for Youth in Justice.
All right, good evening, everyone. I am Judge Marva Brown. I sit in the Manhattan Criminal Court, and prior to taking the bench, I was a public defender for 17 years. So Now I work in arraignments where I preside over raise the age cases prior to the juveniles being sent to either the youth part or to family court. So I joined this recent cohort of justice ambassadors with the thought that I'd be teaching the youth participants about my experiences. But I was pleasantly surprised at how much they taught me. I learned about their resilience, perseverance, desires to change their communities for the better. I've literally cried at multiple sessions of Justice Ambassadors because I'm filled with such awe by these young people, which is particularly meaningful at a time when our youth are under attack. So I wanted to say how proud I am, not only of my own group, but for all the youth participants for being so brave and sharing with us and really caring about your community. I welcome you, and I hope that you enjoy our policy proposal presentation, Youth and Justice.
Hold, please.
Testing. Yeah, okay.
We had a run through of this.
It's okay. This gives me more time.
Just give us 1 sec. Here we go.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Demaya Everett. Each of us in this room has been impacted by the presence of mentors in our lives. Today, we're going to go more in detail and talk about our policy pivoting through mentorship. Our group aims to change the paths of young men and women by offering personalized mentorship and building life skills during the pivotal time that occurs in middle school. Next, I'll be talking more about the issue. In 2024, there were 680 juvenile arrests in New York City. That's a 28% increase from 2023 and 111% increase from 2022. About 50% of juvenile offenders have experienced 4 or more adverse childhood experiences. And lastly, there's an 81.7% increase in likelihood of recidivism for justice-involved youth who are not given positive interventions.
My name is Chris. Our proposition, a 3-year program for our justice-involved middle school age students, which provides mentorship, personalizations based on matching interest, career exposure, and mental health counseling services.
Hi, I'm Celine Henry. Current approaches that we consider throughout this process are Arches, Matriculate, and the 360 mentorship program on Rikers Island. We are currently building upon them.
Hi, I'm Maya, a volunteer of Columbia, and I'll be talking about the theory of change behind our program. So the focus population that we're looking at is youth age 12 to 18, so we're really focusing on recruiting from this group of middle school students who traditionally aren't necessarily reached by a lot of the programs that are out there. And we would be recruiting them from a combination of the Department of Probation, youth diversion programs, juvenile detention centers, and middle schools in order to get this wide range of possible participants. And the program components would include this mentorship program that really has this emphasis on personalized mentor matching, so looking at things such as interest, skills, job interests, as well as similar lived experiences that mentors may have in common with their mentees. On top of this, we also want to give job shadowing and internship opportunities in order to really give our participants the truth to explore possible careers. And we have a big emphasis on this mental health component where they would also be able to receive counseling and build their interpersonal and socio-emotional skills throughout the program that hopefully would be able to build beyond the confines of this program. With this program, our intended impact is not just to create these long-term mentorship relationships and employment opportunities, but also building skills that participants would be able to take with them throughout life, including financial literacy, interpersonal skills, and overall restorative justice that would hopefully decrease recidivism. And with this, our ultimate goal of this program would be addressing these root causes for system involvement and hopefully being able to, in the long run, reduce overall youth involvement within the criminal legal system.
Hi, I'm Daniela Gallo for the New York County District Attorney's Office. Our stakeholders would include government agencies, specifically New York City courts and probation agencies, as well as juvenile detention facilities who would recommend participants for the program. We would seek to engage social workers from the Columbia School of Social Work. Their trainees would provide case management and counseling to students. Volunteers from local businesses in Harlem will provide mentorship and job shadowing opportunities. And finally, local New York City public middle schools will recommend program participants and provide necessary documents for case management.
Hey everybody, how y'all feeling? So my name is Aaliyah. I'm going to talk to y'all about the expansion of our program. By raising hands, how many people knows what Horizon is? Horizon Detention Center? Okay, so part of our proposal is to expand the program into Horizon Detention Center as well, because we understand that schools reach many young people, but a lot of the young people in detention centers that are middle school aged also need the support and the consistent caring mentors that we are trying to offer them, because they're most vulnerable, they are most isolated, and they're in the most need of extra support. And being that our program provides that, we want to make sure that's inclusive to middle school age students that are also inside the detention center. So why do we want to do that? For many reasons. We're going to say this a lot, that intervention for middle school age students is important because while they're at that age, it's very helpful to reach them and help guide them while they're still developing at such a crucial age. And then we also want to shift the focus from just adolescents and teens to middle school age students and catch them early and prevent them from going to Rikers or even worse, going upstate to do time in state prisons. The last reason why we want to expand is also to close the gap. So a lot of times when young people enter the system, they often lose connections to programs, community support, or just support from their schools. And we want to close that gap and make sure even if they are doing time in detention, they're still getting that ongoing mentorship. And one thing I didn't say is that they're exposed to high rates of trauma, instability, and school disengagement. So we want to make sure that we're working with them to reduce recidivism and make sure they don't recidivate. That is a word.
Liz Collins, Bronx DA's office. The detain component works a little differently, but with the same basic principles. We are proposing to offer, again, targeted mentorship with individuals who have successfully navigated being justice impacted, particularly in a detained setting, so that they can have that shared lived experience. We would also offer mental health support, which would be coordinated with case managers. This is also paired with skill building for emotional regulation and better decision making. Given that the internship program would not be feasible in this setting, we would instead offer preparation for reentry into the community to set the participants up for success upon release, in addition to guidance about educational and career opportunities based on the participants' interests. And finally, as an incentive to meaningfully participate in all of these offerings, we would propose rewards through a commissary system at Horizons, where children can purchase snack items, electronics, stationery, and clothing.
My name is Jordan. I'm telling y'all about how the program will benefit the detention facilities, and it's gonna strengthen rehabilitation and prevention efforts, and it complements existing ACS DOE programming and provides structured trauma-informed support.
My name is Kylan. I'm a volunteer with Columbia, and I'll be walking you through our next step. We first plan to partner with local Harlem businesses as well as credible mentors in order to provide support. We also hope to partner with the School of Social Work in order to provide individualized case management for the various youth. For our pilot program, we hope to partner with a local Harlem middle school as well as probationary offices and the Horizon Detention Center in order to engage with a wide, diverse group of participants. It will be evaluated on various fronts, including independent review, participant surveys, and by a subject matter expert. Following the rollout of this program, we hope to expand, creating an alumni network that will provide a place for the participants who complete the program to continue to come to. This would serve as an opportunity for graduates to pay back into the program, all while serving in a paid position at a Columbia-affiliated organization. This allows graduates to build their resume, all while providing necessary financial support for a high school-aged youth. We worked really hard on this policy proposal to make an impact on a population that other organizations fail to capture. Middle school is a really important transitional period for the development of young people, and by providing support to these students as they begin to find their way and themselves during 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we can ultimately have a long-term impact on the trajectory of their life. If you're interested in this program and want to find out how you can be a part of making it happen, please feel free to find any of us after the completion of the ceremony. We were Youth and Justice. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Great job. That way. Great job. Great job. Great job. All right. Please join me in welcoming Close the Gap. Close the Gap is looking to help incarcerated folks become job ready. Close the Gap. Please take the stage.
Thanks, man. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I hope y'all feeling all right. I am. Yeah. All right. Ready? All right, so this is Close the Gap, y'all. We just trying to close the gap. My name is Vincere. This is Ruchi. That's Cam. This is Elise. That's Ray. And that's Liam. And this is our group. All right, so what's the problem, right? Many people return from incarceration without employment and struggle to gain or retain sustainable employment, creating low morality in the community that presents sub-problems. The second problem is that many employers and businesses discriminate based on race, gender, disability, justice-impacted experience, religious practices, sexual orientation, or identity based on internal biases. The Bronfenbrenner ecological systems theory, as Jason Bostic showed us, and the Justice Ambassadors class, shows us how we're affected culturally by the things that we obtain as information and use as data in our brains from child on out into our community and what we see and hear and ingest, and then we also affect it back, right? So the problem and the gap between is that you can't leave somewhere clean and then get touched by dirty hands. Sorry about that. I got nervous real quick, my fault. I got a little poem for y'all. It's called Unsaid. Words are the new currency, because currently we ain't got enough money to show up and not make it. Call us crazy, but that's what the street's saying. It's amazing how we haven't gone under. Still got clean underwear because Rikers Island taught me how to wash my clothes. My right hand washes the other hand, and both hands wash the face. Individually, we all might have a case in a bag of circumstances, but I learned to be naked, not with my clothes off, just no mask on. So when I come out of the buildings and then through the pipes and I see your hand reaching out from the light, make sure you wash your hands, because we like newborns. Don't need no more germs than our mama got. Breastfeeding on breadcrumbs, living check to check. We got to know that you won't hurt us now that we're standing neck to neck. born from a woman made a human before they signed our birth certificates and bound us to this Constitution. We need more than to talk about our problems. We need solutions, and we need people who will stand up to do them.
Next we want to show some statistics to qualify the problem that Vincier described to you. Currently, 60% of incarcerated individuals struggle with employment, and only 33% use the skills they may have learned in incarceration in their first post-prison job. And we believe this is directly correlated with recidivism rates. As has been talked about, over 70% of incarcerated people are arrested within 5 years. So currently we see an ongoing cycle of recidivism, partly caused by struggles with employment after incarceration. However, they are 24% less likely to return to prison if they acquire new skills and hold a job during incarceration. And we also see benefits towards the employers as well as formerly incarcerated people. We see that, according to the Chamber of Commerce, 81% of business leaders and 85% of HR leaders say second chance hires, people who are formerly incarcerated, perform the same or better than other employees. And so we see that by providing these opportunities, by helping incarcerated people with employment readiness, it helps both employers, incarcerated people, and the broader society by lowering recidivism rates. We also want to provide some policy alternatives before presenting our policy proposal to you. We believe that, according to multiple studies, structured pre-release activities like resume help, employer interaction, and mock interviews improve employment readiness and overall reduce recidivism. Next, we want to provide a personal story from Cameron.
Thank you. I'm Cameron, like the rapper. Yes, my experience. I recently ran into trouble with the law not too long ago, and I got charged with a felony. So right there, I didn't know where I was gonna work. I didn't know how I was gonna make money. But I was lucky enough to get supervised released, and I was introduced to a program called Fortune. So they helped me figure out that there's multiple jobs out there, even if you have a felony. So with that being said, not too many people know about that though. Not everybody's lucky. So with this policy, it will educate incarcerated and former incarcerated people on this and getting jobs. Thank you.
So what we propose to respond to exactly the kinds of challenges that Cameron sheds beautiful light on is a high-impact, short-duration intervention, beginning for folks as they near the point of release from incarceration. Starting with resume attention while incarcerated, developing a professional resume, learning how to address and describe skills acquired both before incarceration and even those during incarceration, and getting comfortable with that. The second component, also during the time of one's incarceration, is interview preparation, learning to deal with some of those sticky questions, getting comfortable and confident, having an interview kind of dialogue with a potential employer. The third component, and one we think is really critical, is an in-facility career fair with employers who have jobs to offer and are open to hosting formerly incarcerated folks at the time of their release. And by having that occur within the facility, a connection can be made. And the fourth piece that goes along with that is an onboarding and orientation experience for employers themselves, both to understand the value of hiring formerly incarcerated folks, to address some of the challenges, and to shed light and provide clarity around the rights and the protections that those with criminal records are entitled to. Oh, I'm facing the wrong way. Why this matters, I hope it's obvious. This matters tremendously, and it matters for folks who've experienced incarceration and for potential employers, and honestly for all of us, right? For folks who are experiencing incarceration and nearing the end of it, leaving with the prospect of a steady, assured job is a confidence builder. It provides access to income. All of that's tremendously important. And it can be a pathway and improve the likelihood of successful release if one has to see a parole board, amongst other reasons. For employers, This is an opportunity to hire ready and willing and excited, hopefully, employees to improve the employer standing in the community and to, what matters most probably to many employers, make money. I'm going to pass it to Ray.
Thank you. I'm going to talk briefly about 5 areas of focus that we're looking to affect with this policy. The first, as we've spoken about at length now, is to increase employment readiness of folks nearing release. Also, as Ruchi mentioned earlier, we're looking to reduce recidivism by connecting people with sustainable jobs before release. And we're also looking to support employers by showing them the benefits of second chance hiring, reducing stigma, and educating them on legal hiring practices. And this also supports the formerly incarcerated prospective employees by ensuring that employers provide a safe place to work where their rights are respected. Fourth, we're strengthening communities by creating stable, fulfilling pathways for reintegration upon release. And fifth, we're closing the gap between facilities and the workforce by bringing job fairs, workshops, and employer orientation directly into facilities. And now I'll talk briefly about our funding. Our overhead costs, we expect in the first year to need about $54,000 to cover 2 part-time staff plus office supplies and printing. Once operational, we expect that Close the Gap can run relatively cost neutral by utilizing the existing resources of our partners and by recruiting past participants as volunteers as the employees become the employer participants. Some organizations and entities that we envision partnering with include the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, and the Department of Probation, in addition to correctional facilities, participating employers, and caseworkers. And now I'll turn over to Liam.
Got a microphone. Yeah. So as you see, is this on? Okay, yeah. As you see, the issue is not finding companies that are second chance friendly. We have Apple, Hilton, Tesla. The issue and the essence of our proposal is closing the gap, making sure that we're able to connect these already robust second chance friendly companies with people who need them the most. And we've already gone over a lot of the benefits, and if you want to look really coldly and politically at the reason why Close the Gap would be such a great idea to implement is, well, of course, this is actually, even with our $54,000 cost proposal, the cheaper option. It costs over $500,000 to put one person through Rikers annually. This is, whether through government or private or some type of nonprofit subsidy, the cheaper option. And if you have to look at whether the confidence in these government agencies and programs would be increased, well, this is a direct complement to these companies and toward agencies looking to create this connection between formerly incarcerated and the companies that are willing to make these moves toward closing that gap. This is the most effective way in doing it. We are connecting an existing resource, these companies that are looking for people with a second chance, and the facilities themselves, which we are able to close that gap. And socially, of course, we've talked about lowering the recidivism and growing confidence in these companies, which have taken the step toward increasing their job diversity. So if we go to our last slide, it's ultimately thank you. And we, I know, we really do want to make this happen. We think that this is an extremely fortified and secure plan in ensuring that those needing a second chance are able to have the opportunity to do so. So if you're interested in working with us, please do reach out, and we would like to see the next steps happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Close the gap. Liam was like, I got 2 more words to say. All right. So a lot of people made this program possible, but there was one really extraordinary group that joined us on video. Their time, it was, 11 o'clock at night, and they would be with us from 11 o'clock their time until 1 a.m., right? We have a 2-hour class on Tuesdays, every week religiously. They embedded themselves with each of the groups, and we wanted to give them a chance to offer some brief remarks. These are students who are studying at IE University in Madrid. We wanted to give them a shout out. They just are going to come up on the screen. There we are. Hey, hey.
Hello. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. You look great. I first of all wanted to thank Justice Ambassadors as a whole for welcoming us, and I speak that in all IE students' names, into such a transformative program. And this has been going on, conversations has been going on for a while. When I first confirmed this collaboration with both Jarrell and Gabriel back in July, so it was during summer, I knew this journey would be really meaningful, but I never imagined really how impactful it would truly be. And it was incredibly fulfilling. So if I were to describe this experience with one word, it would definitely be fulfilling. It was incredible, honestly, to see how personal stories can turn into such powerful ideas. It really challenged me to think beyond what I thought I had already understood and helped me to see important issues with new clarity. So thank you so much for your openness and for allowing us to be part of this journey with you. I'm so proud of all the proposals, especially my group, Positive Pathways Coordinator. It has truly been an honor, so thank you so much. I now pass the words to Veronica.
Hi, I also wanted to thank Justice Ambassadors for giving us the opportunity to be part of this program. Even though I'm currently studying in Spain, I did grow up in Connecticut. So being able to contribute to this program based in New York was both meaningful and personal. What made this experience so unique was hearing directly from youth ambassadors about their lived experience while also learning from perspectives of government officials. Every Tuesday, I looked forward to joining these sessions and seeing the group dynamic. To watch everyone learn from one another and bring such different insights to the table. I'm incredibly proud of my group. Seeing Abraham's story of being expelled from high school and how it grew into the second step policy proposal has been inspiring, and I'm really excited for you all to hear our presentation next.
Hi, everyone. So as the girls said, as we reach the end of our time together working on these policy proposals, I also wanted to take a moment to say how grateful I am for every step of the journey, and especially for my group and the people that I managed to collaborate with closely. So when the idea of the JAYC was first introduced to me by Leticia and the other girls in the club, I wanted to learn and contribute to it as much as I could, but I really wasn't able to predict how much the experience would change me. And over the past few months, I guess, listening to all of the stories and working with everyone on our policies really made me rethink what justice and equity really mean. And so I wanted to say a special thank you for everyone's trust, their courage, and their honesty when sharing all of their stories. Thank you for sharing your perspectives and for challenging us as a group and for believing that we can build something better together. And I'm really hopeful that all of these policies work out. And yeah, thank you so much. And I'm super honored to have participated.
Thank you so much. Would the policy members belonging to Second Step and Pathways to Progress please rise and take your spots? Second Step, you can go right on stage. So Second Step, you can go, it's the you're not going to take the rest of the, all right, they're going to gather around the podium. That's all right. So Second Step links together services for justice-impacted young adults that are taking the GED or pursuing the GED, the General Equivalency Diploma. It's a case manager or a guidance counselor for the GED. We were really impressed with this. Thanks. Second Step, please go forth.
We are the Second Step, and we are about supporting young adults to take the next step. This is our team.
I'm Abraham Sosa. I'm part of the Justice Ambassadors.
I'm Christian Lavender. I'm part of the Justice Ambassador.
I'm Brianna Fuentes. I'm part of the Justice Ambassadors.
I'm Amanda Gown. I'm at the District Attorney's Office in New York County. And we worked with Veronica Ruiz, who was just on the screen, and also Quinn. And they're both IE University students.
Our group, we focused on education equity. Our focus is accessing the General Education Development Test, AKA the GED. So the issue that we're attacking, engagement of system-impacted young adults in the community to access the GED preparation and completion and beyond. Okay. Our plan is to robust outreach at a critical time of justice involvement, rooted in relationship building, providing step-by-step guidance to address disengagement, rewarding success with paid employment to broaden the access.
All right, y'all. So I was pushed out of 10th grade over vaccine policy changes pre-COVID. I spent 2 years homeschooling, an additional 2 years, my apologies, 2 years homeschooling with no feedback from the DAE, and I was given no resources, and an additional 2 years working off the books before knowing where to turn. I eventually found Workforce One, where I was quickly able to complete my GED, and it led to better opportunities, but after my completion, I realized through just networking and meeting new people, right, that a lot of people that have went through similar things, just as involved or not, didn't know about programs like these, which would prep you and just guide you through the testing. Second step would make sure young adults get verified guidance ASAP instead of losing time like myself and many others I know just as impacted or not.
A perspective that I have from within the justice system is I work in Pathways to Public Safety, and we look at a lot of individuals who are looking for alternatives to incarceration. And while they have an open case and we're evaluating for diversion, they are looking for something that is positive and productive to be engaged with. We're looking to see that individuals are not getting into trouble and being involved in their GED preparation and test taking would be such a valuable, positive thing, but we see it takes time because the question that Abraham faced of where to go and what to do, they persist, how to get started, and time continues passing. And so this is a gap that we noticed.
While studying social work, it helped me recognize how essential support systems are, which inspired me to integrate social work principles in the process of earning a GED. It showed me the guidance, advocate, and emotional support can make education more accessible and empowering.
All right. All right. So young adults without a high school credential are shut out of lawful work, face higher recidivism, and lose the lifetime earnings and social benefits that come with high school equivalency. Fueling this model directly attacks those stats by converting out-of-school youth into credentialed workers who lower system costs and raise community outcome.
And we see that people who are affected are young adults without a high school diploma, and they are in contact with the justice system. So one expense that we saw for New York City that we all learned about was the cost of incarceration per person for 1 year in New York City is $556,539.
So here is data showing the level of education that is linked to the money you earn. So as you can see, The higher education you have, the more you make. The lower education you have, the less you make. So less education equals more unemployment. Thank you.
We propose a partnership with the Department of Education's Adult Education Program, which already exists all over the city. These are the only requirements needed, and they offer tuition-free classes such as adult basic education, career and technical education, high school equivalency preparation, English for speakers of other languages.
This program that exists is really robust and really exceptional. It is funded, it's all over the city, and it gives free GED preparation as well as other resources. But we noticed that there are a few gaps in the existing program that the second step would like to step in and fill. There is an outreach gap. The adult education system relies on word of mouth in order to generate enrollment. They have a retention gap. When someone stops engaging, there is follow-up, but it's limited, and once 3 months pass and there's no more engagement from an individual, at 3 months they're cut and they have to wait a year if they want to re-engage. And then finally there is, we believe, a support gap. The case managers that provide support there don't have something that a trained social worker would have that could be trauma-informed and crisis aware.
Our group is the second step. The group that we are targeting is young adults ages 21 to 25, have not attained their high school equivalency diploma, involvement in the criminal justice system.
And we would focus on the point of contact to quickly connect with the criteria of those young adults, as upon being released to the community after being arrested, whether they're released on their own recognizance or on conditions or have bail paid. We talked about other points in time for that early and quick contact, and other ideas include when individuals come to Midtown Community Court in Manhattan and have their cases resolved with pre-arraignment diversion. Another option might be sort of with placement close to the New York Police Department precincts, but we have found that focusing on the first one, release into the community with an open arrest, is a quick point of contact that we can use. And so this would be our 5-step program. We would use dual outreach to have a social worker and a peer mentor immediately connect with the individual, guide through test prep, guide through taking the test, retaking the test as needed, and applying to community college. After that, once they've completed and they're enrolled, they'd hit step 5, which is looping back in and being employed as a peer mentor to help with the dual outreach for the incoming group.
Why a social worker? Young adults often have complex needs, including mental health, housing, education, employment, and more. Social work offers holistic support and crosses mental health, social, economic, and community domains. The transition to adulthood is a sensitive development period. The social worker can act as a bridge between youth and systems that are areas often hard to navigate alone. Why a peer mentor? The GED journey can be intimidating and/or lonely. Peer mentors are people who have completed or are completing the GED, offer encouragement and motivation during difficult moments. Their support reduces feelings of discouragement and boosts persistence. There's a host of reasons as to why a peer mentor is important, but reinforcing the learner can pass the exam, and they offer the support that is needed.
So benefits, higher education levels means better jobs, higher earnings, and more financial contribution back into the community, while lower recidivism means fewer people cycling through courts and jails. Investing here buys both safety and economic mobility.
And finally, these are our proposed stakeholders for the program. We propose a partnership with the existing Department of Education's Adult Education Program. We propose working with the Columbia School of Social Work to fulfill the social work positions with interns, and also using the district attorney's office as a point of contact with data gathered by the Criminal Justice Agency. We looked at a budget for paying a social worker and an administrator with peer mentor payment, and we found what 1 year would be for 80 people in the program, which is far less than other costs. And Christian, I'll leave it with you.
Well, in conclusion, this is our group, the second step. And once again, our plan is to robust outreach at a critical time of justice involvement for a young adult, rooted in relationship building with peer mentor and social workers, providing step-by-step guidance, access to GED with strong effort to cultivate engagement and stronger support to address disengagement, rewarding success with paid employment to onboarding is access. Thank you.
All right, Pathways to Progress. This group worked on creating an easy-to-access portal for out-of-school services, and they focused in Mott Haven. Give it up for Pathways to Progress.
Good evening. I am Lauren Camphor. I'm Chief of Staff to Presiding Justice Diane Renwick at the New York State Supreme Court Appellate Division. Oh, sorry. I'll start again, sorry. Good evening. I am Lauren Camphor. I'm Chief of Staff to Presiding Justice Diane Renwick at the New York State Supreme Court Appellate Division, First Department. My colleagues, who will introduce themselves in a moment, with the tip of the hat to our colleagues joining us virtually in Madrid, Alexia and Erika. We all appreciate the opportunity to present our proposal, Pathways to Progress, for your consideration. Our proposal will help at-risk students fill their out-of-school hours with constructive activities by organizations already vetted by the New York City Department of Education and by the Department of Youth and Community Development. By enhancing an existing portal to facilitate connections by the students' educators, this portal will at once reduce the risks associated with idle time on the street during out-of-school hours and improve students' academic and personal achievements.
Okay, so introducing ourselves, I'm Ann Plowden. I'm a psychology major at Columbia, and I've had the privilege of having classes with Jason, who told me about who told me about Justice Ambassadors actually in our psychology class, and I was like, wow, how can I be a part of this?
Good evening. I'm Cassie Abadili. I'm with the Bronx District Attorney's Office. I am the Deputy Chief of our Community Engagement Bureau. After practicing as a prosecutor for 10 years, I left for 10 years and was in the education space in Boston as an administrator and summer camp director for 10 years.
Got one right.
Oh, you got one.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Keith Smith Jr., better known as JR, connected to Justice Ambassadors through the help of my mentor and social worker, Malik Hardy.
Hello, everybody. My name's Jose. I'm a regular high school student. I was recruited by Jarrell. Yeah. I met him on a random day. I beat him in basketball at Crotona Park. It's not really fair. He's old.
Wow.
Anyways.
Wow. All right, well, with that, I'm going to state the problem that we're trying to address. Oh, so many students who live and attend schools in areas with high rates of violence lack access to affordable, safe, and engaging programs during the out-of-school hours. Those are evenings, weekends, and holidays. According to data from the New York City Police Department and the Department of Education, this out-of-school time is the time during which most youth-involved violence occurs. And as illustrated by this slide, it's the hours between 2 and 8 p.m. on weekdays and on weekends. That violence is both perpetrated against and by young people. When out in the community, we consistently hear, there's not enough programming for youth. What are the youth supposed to do out of school? And they get into trouble when they're not engaged in the right thing. However, one of the things we've seen in our ventures into community is that there are actually a plethora of wonderful, engaging programming options throughout the city, and in particular in my borough, the Bronx. The issue is that programmers don't have access to the schools, and the schools don't always know what programming exists. Community organizations want to partner with schools, but they face challenges, such as complex contracting procedures, unclear points of contact, and limited funding pathways. In schools throughout the Bronx, for example, that do have strong auxiliary and after-school programming, those partnerships are often usually the results of one tireless individual, a principal, a PA coordinator, or a guidance counselor who has done the work to identify, screen, and negotiate the complicated process of bringing a group into the school. In those schools, for example, PS5 on Jackson Avenue in the South Bronx, students enjoy supplemental academics, programs that develop social emotional skills, and exposure to non-traditional areas of exploration. In short, the skills and interests that will serve our students for their entire life, set them up for success in the future, and in doing so, make the city a richer, safer place.
On to the next slide. As shown in the slide here, we have in Mount Haven and the surrounding Bronx area, elevated rates of violent crimes remain a defining public safety concern. Local incident reports consistently shows higher than citywide levels of assaults, robberies, and other serious offenses in the shaded region.
I'm from around those areas, so growing up in the Bronx, I've witnessed these challenges firsthand. I know what it feels like to navigate an environment where direction, structure, and daily purpose are often hard to find. For a long time, I struggled with motivation and consistency until basketball entered my life. This sport has provided me with discipline, routine, and a sense of belonging. It has also profoundly strengthened my mental health, improved my overall attitude towards learning and life itself. My experience illustrates the powerful impact that accessible programs have on the youth's development.
So to piggyback off of Jose, I was a professional ballet dancer and ballet teacher before coming to Columbia. So I've seen firsthand just how beneficial access to meaningful out-of-school programs is. The resources, the mentorship, the support that come with them, as well as the role being motivated to show up all day because you have something that you're interested in later plays. I have worked at a ballet school in Lower Manhattan where there are children from these higher risk neighborhoods who actually come to the school every day, an hour and a half there and an hour and a half back. So we thought, how can we bring access closer to them and into their neighborhoods and at their schools so it's not so inaccessible? So our idea is to have a centralized portal that gives the schools in higher risk areas easier access to out-of-school programs and resources that the students need and that already exist. So building upon the Department of Youth and Community Development's current portal that connects parents to the programs, we want to add a direct connection to the schools, since the schools are often awesome at being able to determine in what area a child might need help or really succeed. And because part of the issue right now is complex contracting that delays or completely inhibits connection between the schools and programs, as Cassie was saying, We are imagining a streamlined vetting process. So we envisioned the portal to mimic a USA Jobs, where everything out of school is on this one centralized, streamlined website. And since this task usually does fall on a principal who can't possibly have more bandwidth to pick the programs, we envision a coordinator in the school designated to this task.
So who knows their students the best? Next to their parents, it is their educators and school counselors. Educators and counselors are best positioned to identify at-risk students and offer recommendations to both the students and their parents or guardians that their student would benefit from a structured activity such as academic support, recreational programs, and career prep during their out-of-school hours. This will clearly improve the student's chances for success in school and life and help close achievement gaps while keeping vulnerable students off the street during out-of-school hours. It is a natural fit for a school guidance counselor or other administrator to serve as the in-school partnership coordinator who would receive a stipend, and that person would be able to suggest activities to fill the out-of-school hours. By creating a pathway for educators and counselors to easily access the Department of Youth and Community Development portal, the in-school partnership coordinator can seamlessly facilitate connections to existing organized community-based activities and wraparound services for at-risk students.
This initiative fosters a safer and more supportive spaces for young people, allowing them to both be protected within their communities and promote consistent engagement. It not only encourages more participation, but it also encourages people to show up to school and to strengthen social essential skills and interpretation skills. Over time, this will improve more safe, I stuttered. Stronger school ties, and other than that, we're moving on to the long-term outcomes.
Research shows that high-quality tutoring and extended learning programs can raise graduation rates by 10 to 15%, while structured mentorships and diversion programs can reduce youth justice involvement by up to 30%. Exposing students to a wide variety of opportunities and narrowing education gaps compared to a better resource schools gives a fighting chance to those under such conditions.
So we know we're tight on time, so we're going to wrap it up, but I did want to let you know that we have prepared a budget. We do think $15,000 for a pilot project in the Mott Haven Community School is more than reasonable. Happy to explain the details to anyone interested after. And with Pauline walking up to the podium, I just want to give you the last word because you had one more thing to wrap up and say. So do it, but do it quick.
Okay. We guys got it. Oh my gosh, we kind of got it all together. Well, the last part is the long term and the short term will bolster a safer New York City with times to come, give people my age and the upcoming youth a freedom that we have never got. So that's pretty much it. The call to action is just reach out to us, please. Please.
Right, thank you very much.
And thank you very much, everybody.
All right.
Ow! Good job. Did you turn it off?
Thank you. So I would be remiss if I did not say thank you to our host. Can I get a thank you to the forum for hosting this event, for letting us come on Tuesdays, and of course, thank you to Columbia University, the Center for Justice. You know, you really are the backbone of how we do this. I'm about to ask a very important person to come and take the podium, but I heard that there might be an assembly member here in the audience. Might there be? Oh, you know, I knew your dad. Hey there, son. Yes. So would you just come up and just say hello very quickly? Friends, I just want to give a shout. We sent out invites far and wide, and one elected official came, and that's Assembly Member DeLon. Would you come and just say hello very quickly, very quickly?
I'm surprised I made it. I have a staff person who goes to school here and kept bugging me and pestering me to come. And I'm like, I'm not sure I can make it, man. There's a lot going on. We had a few things get canceled in the office today, and I kind of knew I wasn't going to be able to get out of it. So here I am. But it was worth every minute that I spent because I heard some excellent, well-crafted proposals done in partnership with kids. I didn't know anything about this program until, well, I'll put them out there, till Kelvin Ortiz, who works in my office, told me about it. I'm interested in learning more because there are things here that I believe are worthy of statewide funding. I see you're only looking towards the city as a resource, but we forget that New York State is also a partner in this as well. And while we have the power to create law and change law and amend law, doesn't mean that we know everything. I think the best crafted solutions come from the ground. They come from the people. And individuals like myself are just the instrument to get the community change that the community requests. So that's how I see myself. But in partnership with groups like yours, there's a lot that can be done. It's a difficult group to serve. But every little bit helps, and every bit of positive attention that can help turn around someone's life is absolutely worth it. So I'm committed to it. It's the reason why I am in the state legislature. Criminal justice reform is my purpose. And whatever we can do pre-incarceration and post-incarceration to help people out, I want to try to do as much as I can. So with that, I want to thank you guys and congratulate to all the Justice Ambassadors who are graduating today. I look forward to learning more about you guys and engaging in your processes. Keep pushing. Things seem hard, but the harder you push, they become a little bit easier. So keep going. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
So friends, it gives me great pleasure to ask a member of the bar, an old friend of this program, ADA, I'm probably underscoring, he's probably like a bureau chief, Jesus Christ, this guy. Nigel Farina from the Office of the Special Narcotics Prosecutor. Would you please come to the podium?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Pauline, for giving me the opportunity to share a few thoughts with everybody today. Before I begin, let me begin by congratulating this year's cohort of the Justice Ambassadors Program. What an amazing group of people, and what an amazing set of policy proposals. Having some familiarity with the Justice Ambassadors, I can say with complete assurance that some of the ideas and proposals I heard today represent some of the best ideas that have ever been generated by the Justice Ambassadors Program. And your presentations today really underscore exactly why Justice Ambassadors is such a valuable voice, such an important contributor to the criminal justice reform conversation. And so I'm just so proud of you and so incredible proud. Give yourself again once more a round of applause. For those of you who are familiar with my shared history with this man, you know what an amazing, slightly surreal, but mostly amazing moment it is for me to be standing here today, being able to introduce to you your keynote speaker. Many years ago, I committed myself to being a prosecutor because I wanted to make the communities I live in better and the streets that I grew up in safer. Nobody embodies those ideals and those goals better than Jarrell Daniels. The truth is, this amazing young man really needs no introduction. But I think, if you'll permit me, I think it's important to take a moment to reflect on his amazing life of achievement and just to think about all this young man has achieved in such a short period of time, because it offers so much promise for how much more he's going to do in the years to come. Jarrell Daniels. Jarrell Daniels is a distinguished community organizer, National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellow, and the founder of this program, the Justice Ambassadors Youth Council at Columbia University's Center for Justice. Through the Justice Ambassadors program, he leads a transformative seminar for young people from underserved New York City neighborhoods, leveraging a policy by proximity approach to amplify the voices of marginalized communities in advocating for systemic reform. Jarrell's journey from incarceration to academia reflects his deep commitment to societal change, culminating in a bachelor's degree from the distinguished Columbia University, a TED Talk speaker. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it. It's transformative, and a significant work as a gang interventionist. Jarrell and I developed an amazing program together called Project Restore Gun Gang Violence. It's an idea that we generated and developed while working together here as participants in the Justice Ambassadors program. Jarrell is currently pursuing a doctorate in psychology and social intervention at NYU, where I attended law school, where his research focuses on societal change, adolescent development, and the impacts of resource scarcity and criminal legal system on youth. Through his work, Jarrell seeks to create sustainable, community-driven solutions to end youth violence and promote systemic transformation. Jarrell is a transformative figure. He is an amazing individual. He is somebody that we all should emulate. I am proud to call him my colleague, my brother, and my friend. Please join me in welcoming the man I love, Jarrell Daniels, your keynote speaker. Surprise.
Oh, man, it's a lot of people here. Y'all been standing for a while. Y'all want to join us in the seats? Oh, man. So I'm going to try not to cry today. I'm going to say that. But if I do, you should know that real men cry. But no, you know, I'm going on 8 years home from a 6-year sentence. And what Nigel left out of the story, for those of you who don't know, Nigel was the prosecutor who prosecuted my case in 2012. And it's a surreal moment for us to be working together post-incarceration. And it's really the mission of Justice Ambassadors. When we talk about this term, policy by proximity, we mean just that. We mean that we need to sit down and have uncomfortable, difficult conversations with people on both sides of the law so that we can reach a common goal of achieving public safety together. Because the people who live in these communities can tell you from lived experience that they don't want to wake up feeling unsafe. They can tell you from lived experience that they don't want to wake up in a food desert. They can tell you from lived experience that they don't want to wake up in public housing, that they don't want to wake up afraid to walk down the streets of the store. So the purpose of me reaching out to Nigel and inviting him to join Justice Ambassadors was to demonstrate not just to New York City, but to the rest of the world of what collaboration across differences look like. Right? It takes this opportunity for both of us to put our pride and our ego in our back pockets and sit on it so that we can roll up our sleeves and get towards our common goal together. I recognize that I was given a position of influence by being granted access to this Ivy Tower space. And people like me with my type of background don't often get to infiltrate these kind of spaces. So with the privilege that was given to me, it was my turn to turn it back to the community. So the mission behind Justice Ambassadors, as Pauline and my colleagues Gabe and Jason shared with you, it came out of my involvement in the Inside Criminal Justice Program, where I got to spend a semester-long time alongside prosecutors in Queensboro Correctional Facility. But what came out of that was this real serious question of why did I have to go to jail, spend time in prison, before I got a chance to shape policy decisions for New York City government? Why not give that opportunity to people beforehand? And selfishly, the second reason why we got Justice Ambassadors was because I wanted to make myself replaceable. When I came home from prison, I had got thrown in a lot of spaces to share my story, to talk about everything that I've overcome to get where I am today. And sometimes people look at me like I got a unicorn sticking out of my head, right? And that's not what I signed up to do this for. I wanted to recreate something that would show the rest of the world that young people, if you believe in them, if you empower them, if you give them a platform, if you invest in their growth and development, that you will look at millions more people that will do way more things that I'm doing before you today. So I'm going to come back to the title of my remarks today, and it's leadership rooted in a lived experience. I want to lead by giving gratitude for the people who invested in the work that we've been doing at the Center for Justice at Columbia University. I want to give gratitude to the people who believed in the possibility of transformation, even when other people believed it was impossible. I want to give gratitude for the people who've chosen to show up today so we can grapple with this real serious question of what does real leadership look like. I chose this question deliberately, not because I have all the answers, but because I believe that we've been asking the wrong questions about leadership for far too long. We've asked who has the credentials, who has the degrees, who has the pedigree, who fits the traditional mold, but we haven't asked the harder questions, the more honest ones, about who has the lived experience to demonstrate what's needed to be changed, who carries the wisdom of survival, who has transformed their pain into purpose, and who has the moral authority that comes not from a title, but having walked through the fire and the furnace of affliction and went back to go pull other people out. Without a doubt, we know that Columbia is great at educating people. If we think about the likes of Alexander Hamilton, if we think about Franklin Roosevelt, and to our modern figures like Warren Buffett and our very own President Barack Obama. But we're here today to sing the praises of the unsung heroes, young people and government leaders whose lived experiences and professional backgrounds have come together to shape the next wave of New York City policy. And there are three pillars that guide the work that we're doing here. The first is proximity. Leaders, they must first get uncomfortably close to the pain and close to the realities of the people that they're serving. The second pillar is investment, not just in communities, but the people in those communities by creating pathways for non-traditional people who've been excluded from leadership to have an opportunity to have their voices heard. And then the third pillar is the belief in possibility. The belief and to refuse to accept that things that the way they are now have to remain so. So tonight I'm challenging everything that we think we know about this idea of transformative leadership, because the truth is, real leadership, the one that we like to talk about, it doesn't just transform lives, but it transforms systems and communities. And I want to be clear about something from the start. I'm talking to you about something I've lived from watching and lived experience, right? But it also comes from years of watching people who society has written off because of the most powerful agents of change. They've become the most powerful agents of change. It comes from seeing and understanding that if we're serious about addressing the crises that have been plaguing our communities of poverty, mass incarceration, systemic inequality, that we need to fundamentally reimagine who we recognize as leaders and who we look to for solutions. So let me ask you again, what does real leadership look like to you? I can tell you what it doesn't look like. It doesn't always come with an office corner, a desk in the corner. It doesn't always come with a prestigious title. It doesn't always speak in polished talking points or move through the room with confidence. But I can tell you what real leadership, it often emerges from people who've existed in the margins of society. It comes from people who've been counted out, who've been locked up, who've been pushed aside, who've been forgotten. It comes from people who've had to fight for every goddamn opportunity that they have today. More importantly, it comes from people who had to transform themselves before they can transform anything else. I've seen this kind of leadership up close. I've watched formerly incarcerated people walk in rooms full of policymakers and speak truth to power with clarity and urgency that no academic study could ever tell. I've watched young people from underserved communities plagued by violence develop policy solutions that put to shame the work of seasoned bureaucrats. I've watched people whose society labeled as problems become solution architects that we desperately need. You see, this is what real transformative leadership looks like. And if we're centering those voices, if we're investing in that type of leadership, and if we're willing to spread out the power equally to our constituents and our communities, then we'll see the kind of systematic change that we've been asking for a long time. I want you to ask yourself a serious question. What does it take to become a leader? What are we willing to sacrifice so that we can stand in front of people and lead the charge forward? I'm going to tell you what it looks like. It looks like doing the thing that's not popular. It looks like doing the thing that the media, especially the New York Post, is telling you not to do. What it looks like is you being brave and courageous and standing firm on the values that got you to the position that you are in today. What it requires is the kind of selflessness that says that I'm going to listen to the person who doesn't have the same status and title and background as me. What it looks like for me is creating spaces where I don't need to be old before I retire, but that I can create something where younger people can step up and show their leadership to the world before I'm old and can't keep up with them in basketball. I want to end my remarks by saying I got where I am today when people can look at me and they believe that I'm a leader, but the reality is I'm only standing before you because people invested in me. I'm only standing before you because people never gave up on me. I'm only standing before you because there's two people in this room today, and I'm going to shout them out. These two brothers that I met in prison. One of them is Pablo Centeno, and the other one is Malik Hardy. And if y'all two could just, can y'all just stand up for a second? Pablo and Malik, can y'all just stand up for a second? Now stay standing. So I'm gonna start with you, Pablo, because you set this chain of events in motion. I'm gonna take my glasses off. For those of y'all that don't know, Pablo was my big homie. And if you know what big homie means, you know what it means. When I asked this man in the middle of a state prison yard, will he give me his blessing for me to denounce my affiliation and take the steps to change my life, he could have sent me on a mission. He could have said, you scratch the first person you see, and then you could get your walking papers. But instead, he said, you know, I got a son that's a few years younger than you. And because of my decisions and actions and me not being there for him, he's following in my footsteps. This might be my first opportunity to do the right thing. And what he gave me was not just the freedom to walk away, but what he gave me was a second chance. Pablo was the first person to believe in me besides my mother. Pablo, I want to just say it's an honor and a privilege to be working with you on the front lines on the other side of the gates of hell, and to be working with young people on the front lines to change their lives. I'm going to say it because Pablo doesn't have a microphone. Pablo is a transformational coach at We Build the Block. And he's literally working every day trying to keep young men from killing themselves and going to prison. And this is stuff that... And Malik, when I took those steps to walk away from the lifestyle, it was you who gave me the courage and reassurance to not wobble on the fence. You see, I've been through two, what they call midlife crises. The first one was when I was thinking about walking away from the gang lifestyle, and you was the first person I was able to lean on. You was somebody who had already walked down that path, who had already stepped away from the lifestyle, who had began to embrace what a change agent looks like. And you was the person I was able to confide in real time about this identity crisis I'm going through as a 20-year-old in state prison who just stepped away from gangbanging, when most people are doing the opposite. So I want to thank you for giving me the courage to be where I am today. I want to thank you for living up to the own values that you put inside of me. I want to thank you for pushing other young people through your role at Fortune Society as a mentor and court advocate. I want to thank you for embodying what change looks like from an older generation and what young people like me can look up to and aspire to be. And even how to dress. So, that's it, brother. And I'm going to close my remarks by thanking two women. One of them is in the room with us today. The first is Dr. Geraldine Downey. When people look at me and they think I'm a leader, I think to myself, like, I just have leadership qualities. When I look at Geraldine, I see a leader. I see someone who has the patience, who has the discipline, and who's never given up. The times that I've wanted to give up, the times where I've gotten frustrated with doing this work, you've pushed forward, Geraldine. I've never seen someone balance so many different things and still show up happy every day. Not be stressed, not be ran ragged. And you've demonstrated to me what it means to be a leader, to embody leadership, right? And what it takes to walk in those shoes. And what I really want to thank you for is that you find people in what we call the belly of the beast. And that's inside of the walls of prison. And you've been doing that kind of work since before I was born, trying to help people who at their lowest point in life are really at their rock bottom, who are struggling to find purpose and meaning in life. You come and you show them the power of education. You show them that education can take them to a place where there's no limits and no heights. And I want to just thank you for that unwavering commitment. And I also want to thank you for not just bringing education inside the prisons, but literally creating meaningful pathways to employment at this Ivy League institution post-incarceration for people like me. It's the reason why we've had our legacy freedom fighters come on campus, Kathy Boudin, Cheryl Wilkins, who's here with us today, Yolanda Peterkin, and so many names of people who came through the doors today because you cracked them open for us. You stood up against the administration when they said, why would you want to hire someone who's convicted of murder to work at this place? You went out on a limb for us, and we're never going to forget that, right? And it's up to us to show and prove why people like us deserve to have access to this institution. So I want to thank you, Geraldine. And the last person I want to thank, and I'll get out of your way. I know I went over my time, sorry. The last person I want to thank is not here today, but that's Inspector General Lucy Lang. And I want to shout out Lucy Lang because she had this bold, really crazy idea of doing something that was the first of its kind, which is bringing prosecutors inside of a state prison, not for a photo op moment, which a lot of people like to do. It wasn't for a one-time visit to Queensboro Correctional Facility. It was for prosecutors to spend a semester, 14 weeks, alongside incarcerated men at Queensboro to study alongside them, and with the end goal of co-creating policies that they hope would transform some of the prosecutorial practices within the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. And I thank Lucy for taking that bold and courageous step because she set a lot of things in motion that she probably doesn't even realize is happening today. So I'm thanking Lucy and giving her her flowers because it takes that type of bold, innovative, and creative leadership for the spark to be lit. And when the spark is lit, you know damn well that the fire is coming. And I'm just going to end by saying that the fire is burning, but it's up to everybody in this room to keep that fire going. So the real call to action is that the responsibility of bringing these policy proposals to life is not on anybody who you've heard from today. It's from everybody you're sitting next to in the audience. I'm going to say that again. The responsibility is not on anybody that you've heard today. It's on the people who are sitting next to you side by side, who you haven't exchanged cards or information yet, who you haven't introduced yourself to yet. It's those people who will bring everything that you've heard today into fruition in society. Thank you.
Would the members of Positive Pathway Coordinators and Where Futures Turn please rise and take your spots? Positive Pathway Coordinators fill a gap for probationers by offering trauma-informed care. Give it up for Positive Pathways Coordinators.
Good evening, y'all. Is this on? Thank you so much, Jarrell, for speaking. We're really excited to share our policy proposal, which is Positive Pathways Coordinators, which is a trauma-informed care-based approach to supporting young adults on probation. Our team consists of me, Christian. I work as a diversion coordinator in the Pathways of Public Safety Division at the Manhattan DA's office.
Good afternoon, you guys. I'm a part of Justice Ambassadors, and my name is Madison.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jalil Mazak, and I'm a part of Justice Ambassadors.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tyrese, and I'm a part of We Build a Block.
Jody Smith, proud public defender over 20 years.
Hi, everybody. I'm Inessa. I work at the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. And I'm a proud Justice Ambassador.
And so we designed this policy proposal to bring resources, stability, and support to young adults on probation, and I'll let Madison talk more about it.
So my group and I, we're proposing the creation of a new voluntary support role within the Department of Probation called Positive Pathways Coordinator, or for short, PPC. This would be licensed social workers who specialize in trauma-informed care and youth development. They don't replace probation officers, or hold legal authority. Instead, they fill a critical support gap. Every young adult who joins PPC program begins with an intake survey. This is a guided conversation that helps PPC understand the person's goals, interests, strengths, and real barriers they're facing. Together, they identify what the young person wants and what programs, education, or opportunities that could genuinely motivate them. Why this matters. Many young adults want to improve their lives but aren't empowered in ways that give them emotional support or meaningful resources. By building trust and helping youth connect to the programs, they're truly motivated by PPC, can reduce reincarceration with youth, relieve pressure on probation officers, save the city money, and contribute to safer and healthier communities.
To help us understand why this role is needed, we have to start with the current challenges. First, New York City probation is understaffed with 21% vacancy. This loss means that probation officers are carrying heavy caseloads and are expected to take on responsibilities that resemble social work without clinical training. Second, research tells us that young adults on probation are often high trauma histories, including high adverse childhood experience scores, yet most probation failures aren't new crimes. There are technical issues like missing appointments or not completing programs. These technical violations are symptoms of unmet needs. There is no safe, voluntary relationship-based support role inside probation. Young people often see probation as punitive, not supportive, and that discourages them from engaging.
So who are positive pathway coordinators? There are licensed social workers with deep knowledge of youth programs, opportunities, and community resources. Most importantly, they truly want to work with young adults impacted by the justice system. Their role is to build a trusting relationship through constant check-ins, supported conversations, trauma-informed guidance. They help youth identify their goal, maintain a welcome space, and navigate service in a way that feels human and not punitive. Jody.
This slide shows how PPCs support young adults day to day. First, they meet regularly to check in on well-being, goals, and whether the program is actually working for the young person. If engagement drops, which it may, PPCs explore the reasons why. Instead of punishing them, they help problem solve, offer support, and meet youth where they are. And importantly, there are no penalties for stepping back. Time earned is never revoked. Engagement remains voluntary, supportive, and grounded in care. Madison?
One of the most critical parts of our proposal is the earned time incentive. When a young person chooses to work with PPC and engages consistently, their probation term can be reduced. Participation with PPC can also satisfy some check-in requirements with probation officer's approval. The PPC documents the young person's progress and provides strengthened base engagement summary. Ultimately, the probation and judge sign off on any earned time. This incentive recognizes programs boost engagement, reduce caseload strain, and help young adults move forward with their lives sooner.
Our proposal is grounded in trauma-informed care, principles like choice, collaboration, empowerment, and trust. It's also grounded in lived experience. For example, a few years back, I was hired to work for to do demolition work after COVID had happened, and I was working with no certifications, and I got fired 3 weeks later because I wasn't certified. And I ran into this community-based organization called Man Up, and they encouraged me to get my OSHA 30, and from my OSHA 30, I got my OSHA 40, and now I'm a site safety supervisor. That experience showed me how powerful it is when it comes to someone believing in you. It helps you navigate resources and support your path forward. That's exactly what we want PPCs to offer to other young people.
PPC won't do everything alone. There will be connectors. We identified several trusted community-based organizations like Neon, Archive, Men Up, Bro Experience, All Kings, Youth Justice Network, and CUNY Adult Learning Centers. These groups that already supported youth through mentoring, career paths, education, and mental health services. PPC will make pathways to these partners, helping youth engage with programs that align with their goal. Christian.
Thank you, Tyrese. Each PPC would support 20 young adults, giving them the capacity to build real relationships, and we would track outcomes over 1 year. Quantitatively, our goal is to increase successful outcomes for young adults on probation by reducing technical violations and strengthening consistent engagement. Young adults make up about 20% of New York City's probation population and disproportionately experience instability, trauma, and unmet needs. At the same time, nearly 1 in 5 probation revocations statewide result from technical violations, things like misappointments or transportation barriers, not new crimes. This shows how easily young adults can be pushed deeper into the criminal justice system for challenges that are often preventable with stable, relationship-based support. Through the Positive Pathways coordinators, we would track attendance, engagement, progress towards intended goals, earned time, and reductions in technical violations to measure impact. Qualitatively, we'd use entry and exit surveys, youth reflections, mental health and stability feedback, and case examples to understand the PPC's impact. And I'll hand it off to Anessa.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to talk about the money that we would need for this pilot. Our proposed budget would involve 60 participants, and we would require about $346,000. Now, this amount would help cover 3 full-time PPCs, 1 supervisor, transportation support via OmniCards for the participants, meal support, basic supplies, as well as pilot evaluation costs. We want to give a special shout out to our welcoming wellness bag, which is what the PPC would provide to the participant upon their first meeting. It's going to be stacked with a bunch of essentials, and we're really proud of the portable charger because we know that young people can never have enough of that. There are many possible locations where this pilot would be of benefit. We have decided, or recommend rather, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, given the deep ties established there through Project Restore and a lot of the community connections that we've made there over the years through this organization and Wadley. We think that that will really continue the community investment. Now, lastly, I can say from personal experience, I have spent many, many hours over the past year watching City Council testimony. I know for a fact that they are always looking to support programs for young people and also to support how to improve probationary experiences for people on probation. So we're really excited about this proposal and all the proposals that we heard tonight. Back to Christian. Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, no. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you. All right, Where Futures Turn, middle school intervention program using restorative and trauma-informed approaches. Give it up for Where Futures Turn.
We're gonna pass it around.
All right.
How does it work?
That advances it.
And the red is sure. Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Happy to be here with you all. Happy to be here with my team. My name is Sherrod Brothers. I'm a part of the Justice Ambassadors Youth Council, and we built the block. Our presentation is called Where Futures Turn, because middle school is exactly that, a turning point. While some kids turn towards safety and opportunity, others are surrounded by stress and instability. For the past several months, we've been asking, what could have changed things for us when we were 11, 12, and 13 years old? What would it take for middle schoolers today to feel supported instead of overwhelmed? Tonight, we want to share a pilot grounded in lived experience, backed by research, and built around what middle schoolers in our neighborhoods need. To start, I want to share what it was like growing up. From living in Brooklyn to living in the Bronx, unfortunately, the scenery was always the same, along with the feeling. Smoke shops, delis, dice games, constant police presence, violence. That's what you grow up around. When the cops have to watch out where you live, that alone makes you feel unsafe. A lot of kids never get to say it out loud, but this is what it likes to feel. This is what it feels like to be 11 to 14 years old in our neighborhoods. When life at home or outside is unstable, you carry that with you everywhere you go. You walk into school already in survival mode, you can't focus, you shut down, you blow up fast. People might think of you as trouble, but you're really just misunderstood. When I was a kid, I attended funerals before I even realized what my purpose was in life, how to even live. Middle school is where patterns start. If nobody steps in, things could get worse. But if someone is there from the beginning, things can change for the better. Robert will explain how these early feelings turn into real patterns and how we can interrupt them. Appreciate it.
How you doing, everybody? My name Rob. Nice to see all y'all. What Sherrod explained is exactly what research shows. Grades 6 through 8 are the starting point to where everybody, 6 through 8, mentally grows up. That's what mental puberty is, not physically, mentally. When you start to mature, when you start to understand what's going around you and your reality, when you start to understand what's actually affecting you in a negative way, what's actually there holding you back from doing better, what's actually there that's holding you back mentally from doing better. And grade 6 through 8 is when your identity starts to form, where your identity is underway, where your identity actually comes to mind, where you actually sit there and think about who you are. Grades 6 through 8 are when everything starts to shift, attendance drops, let me restart that, sorry. Attendance drops, suspension rises, academic gaps widen, stress hits harder, and a few early warning in middle schools will show that, to prove that, like chronic absenteeism or repeated suspensions, which predict high school outcomes more accurately than what happens in 9th or 10th grade. So why does this, whoa, my fault, everybody again. So why does so much change happen right here? And what does change mean for intervention? I'm sorry, this is hard. I got a lot of stuff in my hand. Yeah. I love this energy right now. I love it. Thank you. These priorities come directly from our youth team, including me and Sherrod. We said what we needed in a safe space during school, the day, a trusted adult. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry again. All right, everybody, I got it. All right. Even a single suspension is associated with 3.5 times more likely to drop out, which is a lot if you actually think about it. That means the more days you drop out, the more days you are absent, the more you are likely to drop out, which most of y'all are not ready for your kids to do. Youth with 4 adverse childhood experiences are 3.5 more times likely to also drop out, commit serious violence, commit serious decisions that may affect you in the long run. Middle school patterns are more likely to predict high school outcomes more than any other age. NYPD school safety interventions increase rapidly from ages 11 through 12 and peak around June 15 through 16, which is where the start of all your bad decisions start, with low enforcement happening during middle school years. These priorities come directly from our youth team, including me and Sherrod. We said we needed a safe space in school during the day, a trusted adult who understands us, a creative outlet to process stress, academic support without shame, and help for our families, because home stress always comes into school, especially before first period. With that input and the research, Ario will walk you through what actually works for us in our program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ario. Can I have the clicker? Okay, so what are we talking about here? The interventions that middle schoolers desire are coincidentally the same ones that research supports. So the first one that we'd like to walk through is art therapy. So art therapy has been shown to improve emotional regulation and reduce anxiety. And we've also found that restorative and trauma-informed practices reduce suspensions in middle school by 20 to 50%. And then credible messenger models. So that includes someone that, we say credible because it's someone that people in middle school are likely to believe and likely to trust, right? So these credible messenger models reduce violence and rearrest. And last but not least, high dosage tutoring is one of the most effective academic interventions that's ever been studied. So it's on these 4 things that we've constructed kind of our proposal. So this is a hybrid kind of healing model for middle school aged children, right? So there's 4 pillars. One is school day healing support. So this would consist of art therapy, individual sessions, and a peace room for conflict mediation. The second piece would be mentorship, which includes the credible messengers that I've just outlined. The third is academic support, which in this case would be tutoring to reduce stressors. And then the fourth is family stabilization, because you can't support a student without supporting the home environment. So this is what that looks like briefly. 2 to 4 group art therapy circles a week, continuous peace room support, daily mentor presence. We have individual healing sessions, mentorship pods, tutoring hours, and then weekly family navigation hours. And then we have, basically 3 different sets of outcomes that we're looking for. In the short term, we're hoping to increase emotional regulation and decrease classroom incidents, and then increase attendance, homework completion. In the medium term, reduce suspensions and school-based arrests, increase GPA, decrease chronic absenteeism. And then in the long term, we hope to decrease justice system involvement and increase high school completion, along with emotional well-being and just happier families. And Jesse is going to talk about kind of the financial aspect of this proposal.
Okay. Is this on? Okay. I see that we are just about out of time, so I'm going to really quickly get us through the last couple of pieces of this proposal. So as you can see here, we ran the financials and we came up with 2 different funding schemas for a lightweight model, but really ideally we would be going for the full model that would enable more comprehensive services and better evaluation of the program. These costs notably are also competitive with existing Department of Education programming, and most importantly, they are far cheaper than the cost of crisis response and justice involvement later in life that this program will prevent. We also ran the numbers for 1 school versus 2, and we really would like to fund this program for 2 schools for this pilot, because that will enable better evaluation and comparability to scale the pilot after it's completed, and also will double the impact of the pilot. So just to close this out, what we want to leave you with is the heart of this proposal, the vision that we're trying to bring to life. We're not just proposing a program, we're proposing community and care for some of the most vulnerable New Yorkers who are at a key inflection point in their lives. Last year, more than 150,000 New York City public school students experienced homelessness or housing instability. Many more experienced the trauma and turmoil of domestic violence, family separation, gun violence in their communities, and more. These events have a ripple effect across people's lives, and those are the people that need our help. But if we can intervene early, we can change people's lives for the better. We're so grateful for your time, and also want to give a special thanks to Nuria and Isabella, who are our group members joining from Spain, and thank you all.
So friends, we are so close to the end. The most important part of the evening is right now. It's the certificate conferral. So we just ask for your patience. We'll get through this quickly. There's food, dinosaur barbecue downstairs. Stop playing, right? So just bear with us. All right, could I ask Dr. Amso, Dr. Downey, Jarrell, Jason, Gabriel to all take the stage.
Thank you all so much for staying, not only for all of these policy proposals, but this really is the most important part. They spent all this time up here giving you your flowers and sharing all of their wisdom and knowledge. So we appreciate you guys waiting for this. This is really the moment. So I'm going to call your name, come up, shake our hands, take your certificate, take your photo, take in the moment. Aaliyah Gilroy.
I never had a graduation before.
She said she never had a graduation before. Chris Alexander. Demaya Everett. Daniela Gallo. Elizabeth Collins. Jordan Dennis. Marva Brown. Judge Marva Brown. Also want to give a big shout out to Marva. Brought half her family to every single session this year. And we were really, really glad to have them. Elise Cans. Cameron Beezer. Ray Dula. Vincier. Abraham Sosa. He might have stepped out. We'll come back to him. Amanda Gahn. Brianna Fuentes. Christian Lavendier. Ann Plowden. Cassandra Abadili.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jose Garcia.
Hey, Mr. Sosa, you missed your thing. You gotta go get in line. Go, yeah, you didn't get your award, did you? Yeah, go get your award. He might be.
Keith Smith Jr. JR.
Appreciate you, my God.
Lauren Canfer.
Thank you.
Abraham Sosa. Right here. Where'd you go?
The nerves is getting to me, brother. Congrats, bro.
Inessa Abayev. Jalil Mazik. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Three-piece, crazy. Jody Smith. Madison Hall. Tyrese Kennedy Jr. Ario Hoffman. Jesse Lang. Robert Caraballo.
Just said Rob. You put it. It was okay though. So you put the wash up in it.
Sherrod Brothers. And he was hidden in the back before when we did the volunteer shout out, so I just want to shout out Vidal Cintron. Come on up. One more big shout out for all of our graduates, please. Food is downstairs, y'all.
Now I want to give a huge shout out to the mentors of Justice Ambassadors. We're going to start with Maya. Come on, Maya. Maya. Kylan Thompson. And my brother, Kristen Jiss.
No more.
Yes.
I know, but he did a poem at least.